Sunday. For many places, it's another very warm night, a warm start to the day, and then temperatures rise once again into the 30s for much of England, Wales, and another very warm day for southern and eastern Scotland. But northern and western Scotland, Northern Ireland sees thunderstorms develop. Now, these will be hit and miss. They'll occur more widely up and down the country on Monday, but where they do occur, the risk of flash flooding.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Hello and welcome. I'm Josh Howie, lucky to be standing in for Patrick Christys, and I'm going to be doing my best to guide you through a very packed 2-hour show that we have built for your entertainment. And all you got to do is get yourself comfortable, grab a beverage, and get ready to have some fun. And we're going to begin. This is Friday Night Feast. Right, here at Friday Night Feast, we don't want to ease you into the weekend, we want you to crash into it. And that's what we're going to do between now and 9 o'clock. I just hope that none of us get whiplash. I've already got it. I have all the regular features, including Challenge Christys with a difference. Yep, it's Challenge Comedians, because, believe it or not, I'm a comedian. There I am wandering around Westminster pretty baffled and scared about what they had planned for me, which turned out to be pretty justified. You'll find out what that was in just a bit. And you can provide our latest dog with its forever home, possibly. Looking at our track record, I don't fancy our chances, but meet Storm, a 4-year-old crossbreed who's been with Holly Hedge Rescue Centre since 2001. If you have a 6-foot fence, she could be yours. So all of that and more between now and 9 o'clock. But first, let's catch up with the news headlines, brought to you this evening by Bethany Elsley.
Josh, thank you. I am Bethany Elsie, here to bring you up to date from the GB newsroom. A man's in custody after novelist Salman Rushdie was stabbed on stage during an event in New York. The 75-year-old British Indian author was about to deliver a lecture when he was attacked. His writing has led to several death threats made against him, including a fatwa in 1989 over the publication of the Satanic Verses. The event interviewer was also attacked, suffering a minor head injury. The state governor says New York condemns what happened.
An individual who has spent decades speaking truth to power, someone who's been out there unafraid, despite the threats that have followed him his entire adult life, it seems. He's getting the care he needs at a local hospital. We'll be giving more information on the identity of the perpetrator and the case that will be brought in that part of the state. So.
After England's driest summer for 50 years, a drought has been declared, with the Environment Agency warning it could last into next year. Southern, central, east and southwest England are the regions currently affected. More water companies could now enforce stricter measures to conserve supplies, including further hosepipe bans. Yorkshire Water is the latest to do so. The Environment Secretary, George Eustace, says it's not a big ask.
We're in a very strong position now, stronger position than we've ever been, to deal with these sorts of drought conditions. But as I said, it's still the hottest, driest July since 1935, the driest summer in 50 years. To have in some parts of the country a hosepipe ban is a relatively small sacrifice.
Well, with drought comes increased risk of wildfires, and a blaze has torn through a nature reserve in Dorset. An eyewitness video filmed from the nearby Sandbanks beach shows smoke rising from Studland Heath. The area is managed by the National Trust, and it's home to a range of habitats, including sand dunes and a freshwater lagoon. The UK economy shrank by 0.1% between April and June. The Office for National Statistics says the phasing out of spending on test and trace and the COVID vaccine programme is partly to blame. It's a big step down from the first 3 months of the year, when GDP grew by 0.8%. Rail passengers will face disruption again tomorrow, as some parts of the country will have no services at all. Train drivers at 9 train companies will go on strike in a dispute over jobs, pay and conditions. The action will affect several lines, including West Coast services, LNER, London Overground and South Eastern. And the Communication Workers Union has announced post office staff will strike on the 26th, 27th and 30th of August in an escalating dispute over pay. On TV, online and DAB+ radio, this is GB News. Now let's get back to Friday Night Feast.
First things first, it's time for Talking Tosh with Josh. I'm warning you though, it gets a bit worthy. If you saw me 30 minutes ago in the GB News offices back there, in my shorts, trainers and baseball cap, you'd probably agree with my actually funny boss, who commented that I dress like a child who's been kidnapped and has managed to escape 30 years later in the same outfit. It's fair to say I'm not known as a suit person, apart from all that courtroom stuff. I'm joking, I've never been to court yet when they catch me. Anyway, look, I don't know if anyone remembers the suit I wore on the show last week, but it was only the second time I'd ever worn it. Hopefully it was the last, because even though it fit perfectly when I bought it a few months ago for my eldest son's bar mitzvah, last week it was pretty much hanging off me. So today I'm wearing this suit, bought 14 years ago for my wedding. And it's also only the second time I've worn this one. When I tried it on a few months ago in preparation for the bar mitzvah, I could barely pull the trousers all the way up, let alone budge the fly. Like many people entering middle age, after a lucky lifetime of not caring about what I ate, suddenly it made a difference. You know, there was a little jiggle to my step as the tummy started increasing ever outwards. Comfort scoffing Mars bars and ordering pizzas at 2 in the morning during lockdown to recover from the trauma of homeschooling probably didn't help. And in my reflection, walking past shops, I started noticing my stomach appearing before the rest of me. At that point, I had a choice. Let the problem get worse, and body positivity arguments aside, I think diabetes, strokes, early death, cancer risks are a problem, or make a different choice. But that's part of the problem, isn't it? In reality, it's not just one big choice. It's lots and lots of little choices that determine our fate. In my case, should I buy that packet of jam donuts? Should I eat the fourth and final donut? Should I go buy another packet of donuts? I should point out, though, that I was pretty happy. An amazing wife, 5 funny, healthy kids, a job I'm loving, and I was starting to lean into my new big tummy, you know, taking the mickey out of myself. I could stop caring about what I ate and fantasize about one day being a big, lovable grandpa. That was a path I seemed stuck on, and you know what? It seemed fine. Besides, even though a part of me wanted to change direction, I wasn't sure how. So what happened? Bloody Mark Dolan. Chatting after headliners every night 11 p.m, we started talking about diets, and he told me about keto diets. Essentially, it's no carbs or sugar, where you just eat meat, eggs and cheese and vegetables. And here I am, less than 2 months later, and I've lost 2 stone. Now, keto is what worked for me, and maybe check with your GP if you want to try something similar. But even though mates and colleagues have congratulated me, here's the thing, and please don't throw your channel changer at the TV screen. It was actually pretty easy. Just don't eat some stuff whilst getting to eat a bunch of other stuff that I already like. Yes, you become incredibly boring, constantly going on about your diet, but once I was on the path, the results were almost immediate, which helped me to stay on the path. What was difficult, though, were those first few steps, gaining the momentum. And I can't really take credit for that. Here's what Mark did. After explaining keto and seeing I was interested, he asked if I wanted help. And I kind of said, yeah, and then help me he did. He sent a bunch of links to get me started. He asked what I'd missed most. And then he turned up the next day at my house to drop off a bunch of alternative products. He kept checking up on me to see how I was doing and offer encouragement. He even bought me in a special treat when I casually mentioned I was missing chocolate. And he's always been available for any questions that I've had. By showing an interest, by caring about me when I wasn't doing the same, by investing in someone else's future, it provided the impetus for me to start doing the same, if only to do his efforts justice. Mark kickstarted me onto a different path, and he did it purely because he saw that he could make a positive impact on someone else's life. A chance conversation, a bit of kindness and effort, and an entire life has been altered. Who knows, he might have gifted me an extra 10 years. All of us have the ability to change another person's life for the better. All of us have the ability to change our lives for the better. And whichever person you are, I hope you get to meet the other, or to be the other. In the meantime, my diet finishes in a few days, and I am very much looking forward to stuffing my face with a jam donut. Just the one. Which brings me very neatly to my first guest, and for any broadcaster over the last 30 years, surely interviewing him is a rites of passage, a man who's helped and inspired people all of his adult life. It's Derek Evans, also known as Mr. Motivator! Hello!
So good to be in the house with you, Josh. You know what? Your delivery and that picture you painted of the changes in your life was really exceptional. But you know something, you gave the credit to someone, but actually the credit is to you, because you took on board what he said. You took on board, and that is really a big applause to you, mate, Josh.
Well, thank you. You've actually convinced me. I'm going to take all the credit now. So first questions first. Do I call you Derek? Do I call you Mr. Motivator?
Anything. It doesn't really matter. You know, people call me Moat, they call me Mr. Motivator, they can call me MBE, anything you like. It doesn't really matter.
Well, wonderful. It's such an honor to meet you. It's like you literally have been a part of my life. I mean, how important do you think in making change having support is?
Yeah, look, it's critical. If you're going on any journey, there's no saying that if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And having someone who actually supports you in those moments when you're actually feeling pretty low, or maybe you're just not reassuring enough for yourself, is really important. And that's why family and friends are so critical in your journey, because doing it alone is not the recipe for success. And so therefore, having someone who holds your hand at those moments when you're feeling good or bad is really a good thing to do.
You've held a nation's hand, really. I mean, do you get people coming up to you and saying, Mr. Motivator, you changed my life?
Always. You know, it happens so often. Only today I was reading someone who wrote on Instagram. You know, I've got an Instagram called Real Mr. Motivator, and it's always positive what we put on there. And this lady wrote and said how I'd actually engineered or helped her on her way towards becoming a fitness instructor. And I think that's the important thing for all of us, whether we're talking about fitness or life in general. Wouldn't it be great if somewhere along the line someone says to you, because of you, because of something you said, because of something you did, or something you didn't do, or a suggestion you made, my life changed for the better, right? And I think that every single person's life story can be such an inspiration, and all of us can help each other. With very little effort, we can help each other. If only when we say to someone, how you doing, we wait around to find out how they are. Whereas nowadays, we're in such a hurry that we miss out on some of the beautiful things in life. And over the last 2 years, we have all learned some wonderful lessons, you know, and I say to people, I do a lot of public speaking. And one of the main things I talk to people about is this. The difference between school and life is at school, you are taught a lesson and then you're given a test. In life, you are given a test which teaches you a lesson. So if we all look at what we've learned over the last 2 years, we'll realize that we could be so much better for what we've learned, if only we embrace what we have learned.
Absolutely, and obviously it seems like you continually to learn. Obviously, you made a bit of an impact during lockdown, certainly with my kids. How did all of that come about?
You know, it was being at home. I mean, for a start, I left breakfast television because I didn't like the fact that they were only interested in the entertainment that I brought to fitness. I wanted people to understand that there was a deeper side to me. The whole well-being was really critical. And that's what I've been doing for years, is basically embracing all the elements of well-being. So it's emotional fitness, it's financial fitness, it's physical fitness. And you and I both know, Josh, if you're emotionally unhappy, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't do anything. But when you're emotionally happy, you can work until 2 o'clock in the morning, have an hour's sleep, and you're back at it again. And when the BBC reached out to me in early 2020 and said, look, we'd like to bring you back and give you the platform where you can do the physical, the fun, and everything else to engage people, and also give you the opportunity to be able to talk to people about the importance of them, the importance of you, because you're the important person in any room. You're the important person. It was a wonderful opportunity. And since then, I've gone from strength to strength, where companies have reached out to me. And, you know, some mornings I have to get up at 4 o'clock and transmit to Singapore, India, Australia early morning. And then at 11 o'clock, we do Europe, and 10 o'clock at night, we do America for, you know, whether it's a tech company or whatever. I've been doing that. And so for me, I'm blessed in that at my age, you know, I've been through, if you wish, nearly 70 years of university life. And every year I learn something new. Every day I learn something new. But I've got so many takeaways from the last 2 years. And honestly, it's made me, I believe, a better person. And if I can spend time with this kind of platform, spreading those words to people and making them understand that every day you get up is your birthday, not the 20th of March when you were born. The day you got up is your birthday. Look in that mirror and be proud of yourself. And you, Josh, said something really important. You said you got 5 children. You got a loving wife. You need to look after yourself to make sure you give yourself every opportunity to be around to see them glorify you and what you have provided them with.
You know what? I'm going to just take that and put it on my phone. I'm going to show it to my wife. I'm saying, you better glorify me now. This is what I
need. but you know something, Josh? It is so critical that every one of us, you're never too old, right? Every one of us, right? You think about being more active. Listen, the greatest gift you can give yourself, your friends, your family, and all your work colleagues is an independent, healthier you. And that means you have got to get to the point where you can stand up tall every day. The orange between your shoulder blades need to be always there. You're squeezing out the juice. You're looking straight ahead. You're never looking down. You're never stumbling on things behind you. What you're doing is you're saying to yourself, I have a goal in mind. And those first 2 letters, I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to speak to you personally, Josh. You mentioned diet. Diets don't work. Sensible eating does, because at the first opportunity for you to fall off that wagon, you will. And that's why what you need to do is you need to say to yourself, you know, all the things I like, I'm not going to have it as often. I'm going to use some of it as a treat. Listen, I have chocolate once a month and I have it with plain crisps. That's what I love. That's my treat. I'm not saying you need to go as far as that, but you need to be active at the same time, because the moment you stop that sensible eating plan, right, you'll put the weight back on. So we need to get you physically active so that way you continue to look and feel good.
There's some pretty good guns for 69 years old. Can I just say it's been such a pleasure meeting you and to hear your wise words. And now I imagine you're going to go off duty and you're probably going to put on your suit and chill out.
No, but you know, let me say this. I know you guys have your timing, but listen, Stop it for a moment. Let's talk about things which are really important. Let me say this to you. Every single day, my wife and I, we get up and we exercise every morning. That is togetherness. And that's doing it with someone you care about. And if you care about the one you live with and the one you love, get them involved in what you're doing because it's your journey. And that's that togetherness, because too many couples, they're going down the road together, starting well-meaning. But as we get ambition, as we get choices, we start wandering apart. Those moments of exercising together, eating together, sensible conversations together, hardly watching television, really, in fact, very little of it, are really important for the cementing of a relationship. And it's what's going to keep you going are those moments when you feel like giving up. And remember, anytime you feel like quitting, Josh, just remember why you started.
I will do. Thank you so much. And by the way, I did actually exercise my wife, and we both looked totally stupid and just laughed and stopped. But we'll give it another go and not judge each other too much then. So nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, welcome to my panel, fellow and much funnier comedian Ben Norris, making his Friday Night Feast debut, and one of the show's regulars, psychologist Dr. Pam Spur. So, anything that you guys want to get motivated to do? Was that pretty inspiring?
He's very inspiring. I've met Derek, and he is a great, great man. And I wanted to say, I've written a book on emotional eating.
Let's plug that book straight away.
It's all about your emotional well-being. If you are feeling well emotionally, then you eat well. You don't, feed your emotions. You feed your energy needs. And having a crisis buddy, as I call it, Mark Dolan's your crisis buddy, you have that person, you can always call and say, I'm going to raid the biscuit tin. I'm going to go out and buy some chips. You call them, you strike a deal with someone you trust, and they're always there for you. And that is such a big motivator to keep going when you know there's someone who will help you back from the edge of the precipice.
That's it. Ben, I've known you a long time. You've always been pretty svelte.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not svelte now, but I've been bigger. I think in my 30s I was quite hedonistic, and I drank quite a bit.
I remember we did it together.
And that piles it on, doesn't it? Thank goodness there's one of those.
Low fat, mate.
But also, I don't think I moved much. I think I used to sort of avoid. I'd be like thinking about getting a bus to the corner shop. It'd be like, now I think I'll walk or run. As I got older, I started doing far more exercise than I did as a younger person, and I play tennis and I do a bit of jogging. I'm still not, the kind of. I'm not as slim as you, but I've been, as I say, I've been heavier, and it does feel great when you lose a little bit of weight because you know that you can get to the top of the stairs without breathing really heavily and pouring the sweat. And if you're a performer, I think that helps as well.
Well, I don't know. I think the audience likes to see us sweat. It's that whole Lee Evans thing. They're like, wow, this girl is really working here.
If they think it's work and not terrible nerves.
Oh yeah, that could be the other thing there. It's interesting what you were saying. I don't know whether to call you doctor, to call you Pam.
No, Pam.
Pam's fine. Okay, Pam. But when I was overeating like that, I can't really say I was massively unhappy. I don't know how much of my it felt like it just became a ritual, and you just became it became a habit.
It becomes a behavioural habit.
Yeah.
And behavioural habits can be broken. Just like they are formed, they can be broken. It becomes a cycle, and you don't even think about it. I often say to people that I'm working with, coaching for their well-being, and that includes their emotional eating. Give yourself a portion of whatever it is. Because if you take the whole bag of crisps in front of the TV, you forget. And it's just a habit. But if you've got that one little portion there of your treat food, that's all you have.
My mum used to say about packets of biscuits, she said, don't open those because they're all joined together.
They are, certainly Jaffa cakes.
Yeah.
That is just one thing. The problem is I also do all the shopping, and so it's sort of going around. I feel a bit sorry for my kids because as I've been on this diet, I was like, no, I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to buy this Jaffa cake. And now I'm sort of like, it's the first time I've ever started looking at the back of packets and going, whoa, everything's got sugar in it.
Fats.
I just never had appreciated any of that stuff before. But I guess it doesn't work forcing it onto other people.
No, people have to come to that realisation themselves that they are actually feeding their emotions rather than fueling their energy needs. And there's a huge difference. Food can control you because it's controlling through your emotions. So if you have all these negative emotions, then you start feeding yourself to try and feel better, and then you feel worse. So you eat more. So you have to undo that cycle and realise that your well-being is all about being in control of what you eat.
Well, hopefully my cycle has stopped. It could be, of course, that I'm going to be doing some sort of Oprah thing. So this is the first time round, and then I could do a special in a year where I'm going to lose the weight again, guys, I promise. We'll see how that works out. Anyway, you can get in touch with any of your thoughts throughout the show. Just email gbviews@gbnews.uk or tweet us at gbnews. Join us after the break, where we're going to be debating marriage. Announced that last year was the first time ever that the number of babies born out of wedlock is now in the majority. We're going to ask a couple of people if they think that marriage might now be old-fashioned.
If my mum comes, I'm going to have to shout because she's going to think we've left her.
Don't worry, we'll look out.
Cut that out.
We'll look out for your mum. Think that marriage is perhaps now outdated.
Well, I only got married last year, so I'm all for marriage.
Mazel tov.
So yeah, I got engaged this year, but I am personally anti-marriage. I think it is very outdated.
Oh, really? But you still got engaged? Why did you make that choice then?
Well, it's just like a step to do something to do, but as the actual vows go, I do think it's quite outdated.
Mum!
I think marriage is outdated.
Definitely not.
Oh!
There we go.
I've been married for 31 years in September.
Not married, are you? So do you think, is that because you think that marriage is old-fashioned? Or is that because you haven't forced him to do it?
That's a good question. Honestly, I've already been married, and so I guess it's lost its luster to me. And I mean, I don't know. I always tell them the day may come that I want his last name, but at this point, I'm happy. If something's not broken, why try to fix it?
Yeah, and I think it is old-fashioned. I think it's outdated and not needed anymore.
You've been together with your boyfriend, if you don't mind.
7 months.
7 months. Are you already talking marriage?
No.
But are you sure he's not? Is he not going to propose during the Coldplay concert?
No, not tonight.
Okay. But your parents are married. Do you think that made a difference to the way that you were brought up?
Yes, I think probably, yeah. Like, marriage is like something that I value.
We are married for 50 years, so we probably have a different view.
Would you agree with your husband?
Yes.
Yes. And what do you think the secret is to being married for half a century?
Survival.
Yes, something like you have to be quite patient.
And do you guys have children, if you mind me asking?
Yes.
One child.
And we are new grandparents.
Hey, congratulations.
This year.
That's
Yes.
fantastic. Do you think that being married had an impact in terms of how your child was raised?
Yes.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club.
Oh my goodness me.
And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilized conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panelists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
But anyway, Welcome back to Friday Night Feast. Now, as I said earlier, I am wearing my wedding suit for the first time since I got married, a very happy 14 years ago. But this week, it was revealed that for the first time since statistics began in 1845, the majority of babies were born out of wedlock in England and Wales. This was for 2021. So the figures do coincide with the COVID lockdown when weddings and civil partnerships were illegal. But it still begs the question, how important is marriage these days? To discuss this, who better to ask than power couple Peter and Steph Shilton? Also joining us to discuss the cons of marriage is Professor Stephanie Kunz from the Council of Contemporary Families. She's recently written a book called For Better and Worse, The Problematic Past and Uncertain Future of Marriage. That makes you particularly apt for this. So, Professor Kunz, or can I call you Stephanie? Do you have a preference? Stephanie, okay, Stephanie. So, first of all, do you mind me asking if you yourself are married or have been married?
I am married, yes, and happily so.
Wonderful. So, I mean, I understand the book that you're writing now is also about this subject. Can you tell us a bit more?
Well, yes. People have a lot of myths about what is traditional marriage. For example, the fact that marriage was so much more stable in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it was particularly good. Rates of domestic violence were much higher. Women had far fewer choices. They didn't have much opportunity to leave a bad marriage or to survive even without getting married. So there were things that made marriage more stable that we wouldn't want to reproduce today. But there were other things that made marriage more stable that perhaps we would want to reproduce. In the post-war era, for example, young men could earn enough to support a family on their own. And so that, and their wages rose instead of being their wages falling, as they have in most industrial countries recently. And so that made them more optimistic about marriage. But in my mind, I think that we understand that there are a few things happening. One is there are economic and social barriers to getting married in today's insecure, high-paced, turbocharged commercial society. But the other is that we have higher standards for marriage than we had in the past. When a marriage works well today, it works better than anybody in history would ever have dared to dream. And so somehow we have to find policies that don't hector or bully people into getting married or shame them if they don't, but that support people's healthy relationship, making it easier to marry, easier to sustain a marriage, but also easier to raise a child if for some reason you don't get married or you have to leave a bad marriage.
I see. And now, Peter and Steph, you guys, how long have you been married now?
5 years.
5 years, 6 years in December.
Well, there you are. If the man there telling you exactly when it is, you know he's obviously very, very happy, unless he rehearsed the answer before, just in case that question came up.
Definitely happy, Josh.
That's great. So, you guys, for you, obviously marriage is the right decision, yes?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We never really not wanted to get married. We wanted to have the day, didn't we, in church, and all the things that go with it, all the build up and, making family members, happy to get involved. And it was just a great celebration of our love, really.
And I think that also helps with Peter overcoming his, addiction as well, because we had something to aim for. It was a dream for us, and the honeymoon, and it was just a goal for us to get to, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the memories really of the day. Obviously, we had a white wedding and a nice honeymoon, and not everybody can afford that sort of thing. But obviously, it was very special to us.
And I think our vows were important to each other. We really did mean them. But going back to what you were saying, Stephanie, I don't necessarily quite agree. I think the modern men nowadays are far more romantic from my era. I often see on social media proposals and couples, having beautiful weddings on. I think there's a lot more romance about weddings nowadays, and I think the younger generation aren't so. There's not this embarrassment. My son-in-law's whisking our daughter off for a romantic spa for her birthday, and no one bats an eyelid. But unfortunately, I think a few years ago, romance wasn't as good as it is now.
So, I mean, Stephanie, would you? Sorry, what were you saying, Stephanie?
Ways. I think that because marriages are becoming more egalitarian, and that's an important change and a fairly recent change, men and women are better able to communicate. Men are getting more open about their romantic needs and their wishes, and women are getting more open about the fact that they have interests outside the home in addition to the relationship. And that means that we're beginning to grow together. And to the extent that we can do that, and we have the support systems that allow us to take the time we need. Our standards for marriage are so high that we really need to be better negotiators. We need to be able to spend time with each other in ways that people didn't have to in the past when they had less choice about getting married and staying married. So it's a harder job now, and we need as individuals to take time. We need as a society to make sure that people are not so stressed around time or money that all they can hear from the other is the conflicts. That's what happens when people are under chronic stress. They can only see the bad things that are happening, and they forget to comment on the good things. And I think that's one of the real secrets to a good marriage, is remembering to be grateful for the good things and to tell your partner what it is you are grateful for.
Well, absolutely. Communication and gratitude, the two bedrocks. Stephanie, there's a lot of evidence that there are actually many, many benefits to being married, like living longer. Is there any evidence that just being in a long-term relationship also provides those benefits?
Yes, there is. Because a lot of times people don't get married because there are other things that make them hesitant to marry. Like there's been domestic violence, or there's abuse of alcohol, or something like that. So they don't get married because they have problems. It's not that they have problems because they don't get married. So when we look at those statistics, we find that if a relationship does have very strong benefits, the legal thing is less important than the real, what you said, the gratitude, the cooperation. And you have to remember that when we find that marriage has these benefits for health and long term, a bad marriage does not have that health. A bad marriage has worse outcomes on people's health and even life expectancy, research is finding, than being happily single.
Right. Well, Peter and Steph, that brings us quite nicely into you guys, because, of course, your union, Steph, you really helped Peter to make that partnership. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about the story of what happened, for anybody who doesn't know?
Well, Steph, you go on.
Yeah, I mean, Peter proposed to me very early on in the relationship, but obviously because he had a gambling problem, I kept saying to him, until we've dealt with that, I can't get married to you. And then a lot of that was because of, I was concerned about my own financial security, and so I was very careful. I wanted to marry him straight away as soon as he proposed to me. But to me, with our marriage, it had to be, as perfect as we can get it. We work like normal couples do, and we work on our relationship. Yeah. But
I think it doesn't. You need to work at any relationship. Whether you get married or not. And as I said at the beginning, I think marriage, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a success. I think sometimes people do rush into relationships, after a few months or a short period of time, and decide to get married and find out that maybe they're not suited.
Because we waited 5 years.
We waited 5 years, and maybe that's a little bit of experience we both got. But, you know, I think marriage is a celebration of your love. And I mean, some people can't afford a big wedding, but I think for family members, you know, to be there and celebrate with, you know, with their spouses or whatever, then it's obviously, you know, a great day all round. And we always look back on it. We've got so many photos of the day and made sure we got a lot of photos. You know, we're always looking back and saying, "Oh, we had a great time, didn't we?" And that's the way we look at it.
I always, when I talk to my wife about this, and maybe Stephanie, you might agree because it sort of resonates with what Peter and Steph are saying, but to come together and get married, it feels like the way that works best is when both parties are already complete somewhat.
I think that's completely true. That you can't, marriage is no magic bullet. Marriage is the outcome of two people who could live without each other and are not marrying in order to get rescued, but are marrying because they've made that effort. A, you should not get married thinking that that's going to solve your problems. You solve your problems first. But B, once you do decide to get married, there is a real benefit. And that is that in our society, it's the highest form of commitment that most people can imagine. And it's accorded more respect by relatives and friends. So the marriage then is a way of inviting people in to honor your relationship. I know when my husband and I got married, we made a vow to our friends and family that we were not going to cocoon. We were not going to leave them out. We wanted to continue our independent relationships with them, but that we would hope that they would now take an interest in us, not just as individuals, but as a couple.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much to my guests, Peter and Steph Shilton, and Professor Stephanie Kunz. Good luck with your new book. Very nice to meet you all. Right, here we are now with my panel. What do you think about it, guys? Are you married?
Yes, I am. First, I'd like to say, though, I was a groundbreaker when it comes to stats, because in the early 80s, when I accidentally fell pregnant as a young university student in my second year of my BSc honors degree in psychology, there's only 4% of babies born out of wedlock, as my eldest was. And so now it's more than 50%. As you say, lockdown is part of that. But these things happen. Marriage, to me, is incredibly important. And personally, why marriages work are very individual to couples. Say, with my husband and me, it's a partnership. You know, no one has the power. We are together as partners. 27 years of a very happy relationship like that. For other people, they do want one person to be more dominant. You know, they do like to have a differing sort of role. So people have to find their own way. It is a work in progress when you get married. And I think hats off to Peter and Steph not getting married until the problem with the gambling was solved. Again, because as Professor Stephanie was saying, you know, you do not go into marriage to be rescued or to get healed. You have to be a whole person, and that's when you meet your match.
Although what's tricky there for Peter is that marriage is a gamble itself.
That's true.
Well, I was going to say, coming to Ben, I don't know how far we get, but Ben, you were recently having some issues, or I don't know what I want me to say.
28 years, my wife and I are married, but we had a trial separation at the end of last year, and it worked. So be careful.
Well, I was going to say, Pat, you've written a couple of books as well. Let me just read some. Sizzling Sex, Fabulous Foreplay, Sizzling Sex, Steamy sex, Sensational Sex, yeah, and Sex Academy. I'm getting a theme here suggested. How much do you think sex relates to a healthy marriage?
Well, again, that's for couples to decide themselves. And as Professor Stephanie was saying, you work at a marriage, but you also have to play it in a marriage. So you have to have some fun.
OK, I will tell my wife when I get home. I have been ordered by the doctor. So after the break, I'll show you the latest instalment of Challenge Comedians. And here's a little clue to think about while we're away. When I say little clue, it pretty much gives the whole thing away. How tall is the front wheel of a penny farthing? 1 metre, 2 metre, 5 metres? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh, my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, Talking Pints Over a drink, we have a civilized conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Faro.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panelists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
On Mark Dolan tonight, in The Big Question, with a raid on his private home which has sparked outrage for being politically motivated, has Donald Trump been handed the White House in 2024? We'll speak to US talk show host Sebastian Gorka. And should Joe Biden be impeached on the grounds of ill health? We'll hear from America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman, and she's not pulling her punches. Also, will the Ukraine war be over by Christmas? We'll hear from legendary historian Martin Whittock. And in my big opinion, those pushing for a meat tax can burger off. See you at 9.
A little promo there from my diet master, Mark Dolan. Welcome back to Friday Night Feast. Before the break, we asked, how tall is the front wheel of a penny farthing? 1 metre, 2 metres, 5 metres? And the answer is 2 metres, which neatly leads me to this. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time now for Challenge Christys, or as we're calling it, Challenge Comedians. Over the last few weeks, Patrick has tackled all sorts of daring challenges. Among other things, he's landed a plane, he's taken on a professional boxer, and he's injured himself while lawnmower racing. So for little old me, they decided to be kind and arrange something a bit more comedian-friendly. Or not. Here's what happened. I'm at the challenge. I've been walking through central London. I've been told to wear something a little bit loose. So I'm hoping it's maybe something like a sword play or archery, something that, you know, will help me in a zombie apocalypse. I'm a little bit worried because we just walked past Channel 4 and I hope the challenge isn't to get a new job. But anyway, it's something masculine. I'm very excited now. Let's go, let's hear it. Let's see what it is. It's, okay, new skill. Penny farthing challenge. The London Scottish Regimental Headquarters. What's that got to do with penny farthings? Let's find out! Wow, okay, it's a pretty impressive building. Whoa, do you see that? Good day, sir.
Good day.
Wow. Actually a little bit scared now. Penny for your thoughts. Now this is the bit. Hello.
I'm Neil.
Josh. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to your penny farthing challenge.
Let's do it. So Neil, you're my instructor for today. Are you the head of the Penny Farthing Club?
So I'm the founder of the Penny Farthing Club, and I've been riding penny farthing bicycles for about 10 years.
Some people go for Lamborghinis in their midlife crisis. You're like, no, make it a little bit more cost effective.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good description. It's my midlife crisis. But I've ridden Land's End to John O'Groats. I'm captain of the England penny farthing polo team. And I have 3 Guinness World Records for riding this bike no-handed. It just becomes a little bit of an addiction. It's super eccentric and rather unique on British roads. And of course, even taxi drivers here in London stop and take photographs. So you've got to be, it's got to be a fairly special sight.
So you do ride it around on the roads?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a means of transport, getting from A to B to my meetings in London and so forth. And it's an awful lot of fun.
Well, it's about to actually be the 4th record-breaking Guinness record bike of how many times a human being can fall off and hurt themselves.
No, we won't be doing any falling on my watch.
Okay, fine. So, and it's totally safe?
It's totally safe.
Yeah, it must be totally safe with a disclaimer. Good physical shape? No. And I won't hold the Penny Farthing Club or any designated instructor responsible for any accident or injury I might sustain during this experience.
So, Josh, there's a few things you need to know about this rather special Victorian bike. But first of all, we've got to give you a helmet.
Okay, that's slightly ominous. I don't suppose you have anything for more this region?
Padded cod pieces, I'm afraid, available on this particular challenge. The pedals go round with the front wheel.
Okay.
Whether you're mounting the bike, whether you're riding it, or whether you're dismounting the bike,
okay.
The bike has to be moving.
Okay, got it. That's
Okay.
rule number 1.
You jam the pedals, that front wheel's going to stop.
Okay.
You're going to go, momentum will take you over the top to do what's called a header, which is what we want to avoid.
No headers.
Despite the fact you have a helmet. Okay. And as you're turning a corner, your inside leg may be stroked with the wheel there.
That's a bad thing. I also see these little lights here. That's a nice little addition.
Well,
very modern.
We have to be, absolutely.
Safety conscious.
Battery-operated rear flashing light.
Very, very, very fancy.
And the bell, don't forget.
Oh, of course, yes.
You ready?
No.
Off you go.
No. Surely there's more to teach. I guess I've come around the left-hand side.
Would you like some help?
Yes, please.
Okay, come on. Start position.
All right.
Ooh. Okay, so the first thing I must tell you is that
yeah.
your knee and your toe must be clear of the wheel.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So we adjust the hands once we're up and riding. Just drive the bike forwards, freewheel it, up you get, second peg, toe.
Toe, yeah.
Now onto the seat.
Okay, don't put my
That's
feet
it.
down.
Nice and relaxed.
Okay.
Beautiful. Hands on the outside of the handlebars now.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah.
That's it. Now you're riding.
Wow, okay.
That's it. Beautiful. Good balance. Lovely. Well done.
Oh my
Bring
God.
it. Don't panic. You're in control.
Not in control.
You are.
Okay, well, I understand why the Victorians are so uptight now. This makes a lot more sense.
Look at that. You're already riding the Victorian bicycle.
Wow. 2 minutes and my buttocks are already feeling like they've been bashed in. Okay.
Well, the thing is, I teach people to ride for free, but I then charge money for getting them off the bike.
Well, I would gladly give you probably about £100 at this moment.
Yeah, deal.
This is, I don't think you really appreciate it, how high it is until you're up here.
Dismount, feet away, freewheel the bike, reach back for that right peg, toe. Toe, right peg, take the weight, up, left foot down one, off to the right or left. Brilliant, well done, sir.
Challenge 1.
Yeah, congratulations. You're a penny farthing rider.
Holy moly. Wait, so let me just get some stuff back into its normal positions. Oh my gosh, I'm a little bit shaken there. Just getting my body parts to return to their normal places.
You did very well.
Oh, thank you so much, yeah. Well, I'm glad that I've done it. I'm glad it's over. Neil, thank you so much for teaching me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, but you haven't completed the challenge yet. We haven't ridden on public roads, for example.
Public roads?
Well, yes. They used to commute on these things to their meetings, so we're going to go riding on public roads.
Okay. Josh Howie, the general public, what could go wrong? Hail Mary.
Launch the bike when ready. Push.
No. Yes.
Up we get, toe. Seat, join the pedals. Find the pedals.
I can't
steer away.
turn.
Round this way. Relax.
Okay.
Steer the bike down the middle of the road. Keep driving. Knees straight.
Check this out. No hands. No.
Yeah, you're still alive.
Still alive.
Keep going. Come on. Just relax a bit more. Straight upright.
Hello. Thank you. This is it. Yeah, someone else is happy. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's just one of those things. Ah, car. Okay.
Keep riding.
Yeah.
Prepare to dismount. Feet away. Feet away.
Feet away. Sorry.
Don't touch the pedals when I say that.
Sorry, yeah.
Right foot, left foot, and down.
Oh my God.
You did it. Well done.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
Thank you. Might I suggest walking?
Okay, here's my pièce de résistance, no-handed riding. Thank you.
Okay, my heart is pumping an insane amount. Look, you know what?
182 beats a minute.
I've made it. The challenge was accepted. I think I passed.
You have passed.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Congratulations.
I'm crossing it off the bucket list. Done.
Well done.
God. I'm actually having a panic watching that. It was very traumatic. Anyway, my buttocks have just about recovered. If you're listening on GB News Radio, you can watch that challenge shortly on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, and also on Twitter. Well, joining me now to tell you how it really went is the man himself, the legend with 3 Guinness World Records in no hands penny farthing riding. It's founder of the Penny Farthing Club, Neil Lawton. Hello, Neil. Lovely to see you again.
Hello, Josh. How are you? You recovered?
Just about. Just about. Can I just ask you, watching that, was I a difficult student?
No, you're a really good student, actually. It's always difficult first time, novices. You've got cameras around, people watching, having picnics in the park. Lots of distractions, traffic. I thought you did really well.
Well, I appreciate that. Do you think I did well enough maybe to play a bit of a penny farthing polo? Is that it?
Yeah, you'll need another lesson or two before you can wield a mallet to play polo, but you've definitely got the potential, sir.
How you got into penny farthings? Is it midlife crisis? I see some champagne behind you.
Yeah, so I love cycling, lots of different types of cycling, and I was intrigued by the old Victorian bikes, realised that you could buy a modern replica, and just decided that I would try my hand at it. Kind of got a couple of bikes in order to ride and to actually ultimately to play polo in my midlife crisis. And Bob's your uncle. 10 years later, the Penny Farthing Club is going strong. Lots of members, and we do all sorts of fun challenges, world record attempts, journeys, charity events, and so forth.
And you got 8 of these things. I mean, do you actually take them to stag do's? Is that what I read? I mean, is that safe?
Yeah, stag do's and alcohol and penny farthings don't generally go too well together, but maybe before the drinking, for sure. It's a great activity. We do stag do's and the odd hen nights as well.
Well, Neil, you couldn't actually see that, but my son was there that day, and you gave him a ride on that as well, and he was very chuffed, and my wife loved the photo. So thank you so much. Great to meet you, and good luck. Hopefully, I look forward to you getting another Guinness record.
Thanks, Josh. Well done. See you again.
Take care, mate. Bye. So, panel. They've written this on the article, I have to say it. Penny for your thoughts. I apologise to the nation.
I just want to see the tape where you actually fell off.
You want to see the bleepy, sweary tape?
Yes,
because that was about 20 minutes.
I was going to say, otherwise you're highly skilled.
You did incredibly well, I think.
Yes.
Because that looked terrifying.
So it's so much higher than you think it is.
It looks sort of horse height.
Yeah, it is, well, higher than a horse or something. I don't know. Whatever it was very wobbly, and the wheels are like fixed and really hard and bumpy, and yeah, the whole thing was. I mean, you guys tempted at all?
No.
Watching that, you're like, you know what? That's going on the bucket list.
No.
You sure?
No, I've got more exciting things on my bucket list.
Okay, you sure sex on penny farthings? That's not tempting you for another book, possibly? What about you, Ben? Are you gonna
sex on a penny farthing?
Yeah, you'll take it, right?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Okay, I like it.
I think you've got to be You've got to be ready for anything in this world, and that is something I would definitely give it a go.
Give it a go. Your kids are sort of, they're like 16 now or something?
Yeah,
is this something that you could take them to on a day out?
A penny farthing?
Yeah, penny farthing, like learning how to ride penny farthings and saying, I've got something for you guys, you're going to really enjoy this.
I'd give that a go. I mean, they're triplets, so we would need 3 penny farthings, and why not?
What, you just supervise? You wouldn't get on one yourself?
I think I'd stand at a safe distance and say, good luck, guys.
OK, good luck. Coming up after the break, should the pork pie roundabout in Leicester be renamed the vegan pie roundabout? The man who's been accused of storing gallons of water for his tropical plants, and we'll be having a rummage round your parts. See you shortly.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of 2 wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
This hour we'll be discussing whether the pork pie roundabout in Leicester should be renamed the vegan pie roundabout, and we'll be talking to the man who's been named Reservoir Hog by The Sun and accused of storing gallons of water for his tropical plants. He'll set the record straight after the news with Bethany Elsey.
Good evening, I'm Bethany Elsey, here to bring you up to date from the GB newsroom. After England's driest summer for 50 years, a drought has been declared, with the Environment Agency warning it could last into next year. Southern, central, east and southwest England are the regions currently affected. More water companies could now enforce stricter measures to conserve supplies, including further hosepipe bans. Yorkshire Water is the latest to do so. The Environment Secretary, George Eustace, says it's not a big ask.
We're in a very strong position now, stronger position than we've ever been, to deal with these sorts of drought conditions. But as I said, it's still the hottest, driest July since 1935, the driest summer in 50 years. To have in some parts of the country a hosepipe ban is a relatively small sacrifice.
A man's in custody after author Sir Salman Rushdie was stabbed on stage during an event in New York. The 75-year-old was about to deliver a lecture when he was attacked. The event interviewer was also attacked, suffering a minor head injury. Rushdie has faced several death threats over his writing, including a fatwa in the 80s over the satanic verses. The state governor says New York condemns what happened.
An individual who has spent decades speaking truth to power, someone who's been out there unafraid, despite the threats that have followed him his entire adult life, it seems. He's getting the care he needs at a local hospital. We'll be giving more information on the identity of the perpetrator and the case that will be brought in that part of the state. So.
The UK economy shrank by 0.1% between April and June. The Office for National Statistics says the phasing out of COVID spending is partly to blame. It's a big step down from the first 3 months of the year when GDP grew by 0.8%. Boris Johnson's admitted the current help for people struggling with the spiralling cost of living isn't enough. It's as the new price cap predicts the average family's annual energy bill could reach £5,300 by April. The outgoing Prime Minister insisted there'll be more help for hard-hit households, regardless of who succeeds him.
Cash is not only coming through now and has started to come through, but will continue to come through over the weeks and months ahead.
But there are people saying it's not enough. It's not enough.
And in addition, what we are doing is making sure that we have the fiscal firepower, we have the cash to help people more at those two key points, in October and in January.
And rail passengers will face disruption again tomorrow as drivers at 9 train companies walk out over pay and conditions. West Coast services, LNER, London Overground and South Eastern will be affected, and some parts of the country will have no services at all. On TV, online and DAB+ radio, this is GB News. Now it's back to Josh and the Friday Night Feast.
Plantsman Max Clifford, man with plants, a man with lots of plants, plantsman. He's from Dorset. He's fearing for his tropical garden amid fears of a drought. This week, Mike made national news in the Mail, The Sun, The Metro and The Mirror, who claimed he was stockpiling water. Mike and his neighbours have received a backlash from the reports, with many believing he has an oasis of water under his house for his tropical plants. Mike is here to set the record straight. Mike, what a wonderful shirt you have. You've almost camouflaged into your garden.
I'm known for my shirts.
Yeah. Now, first of all, how did you grow a tropical garden in the UK?
I've been growing tropical plants for the last 25 years. And we've had this garden for 10 years, and I brought most of the plants with me. And they grow very easily, the bananas, the palms, the tree ferns. But I also grow like rare plants. Some of them are tropical plants that need rainwater.
Roof that I see, is that what you have over the top of all of it?
No, there's some little walkways through that just get you to the entrance of the garden. But you'll see there's some watering cans down around that I fill with rainwater from the water butts that I water certain plants with that prefer rainwater.
It looks very beautiful, but my children would be like, how do you get to play football in it?
There's no lawn. It's a very small garden.
There we go. No. So can you tell me what happened when the papers got hold of the story then?
Yeah, they got hold of the story, and they actually, some of them got it right. There's about 2,000 litres of water stored. I have an old orange container that's about 1,520 litres, and that's partially buried into the ground a couple of foot, just so it didn't protrude across the fence. And I've got a couple of other water butts. I've got around about 2,000 litres of water, which isn't very much really. It's about 8 or 10 water bucketfuls. And suddenly it became this underground reservoir and storing thousands of litres of water. And it was blown out of all proportion. And I only use that water to water specific plants.
In your neighbourhood of, angry with you for taking their water that's free from rain?
Not really. No, I had a chap at work come up today with an empty bottle saying, "Please can I have some water, Mike?" Because you got it all stored in your garden. Which was,
is he the guy with
funny.
the crazy tie?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you have any concerns about the drought? It sounds like a lot of water, but is that going to get you through the summer?
It should do. To be fair, by the end of September, October, we stop watering most of the plants. It will start raining. Rain is forecast again next week. We're on heavy clay where I live, and it doesn't need a lot of hosepipe water.
And the other thing I was going to ask you is, are those plants very expensive? Looks like it's quite a hobby. It is.
They are very expensive.
Okay, you're not worried about robbers going off with a bush or something?
No. Some are quite spiky and nasty. They wouldn't want to be taking those.
Okay, fair enough. Brilliant. And what is your favourite plant there, and where's it from?
To be honest, the one you see there is called Adepia splendens, the little red flowers on it. That's very rare. It's called the golden fuchsia, growing from seed. So it's.
And what happens with the plants? Do they
have so many?
Do they have some sort of psychedelic effect if you ingest them?
Some do. Some of the plants do.
Okay, but the real reason has come out finally. I'm guessing from your moustache. Brilliant. Well, Mike, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us and setting the record straight.
And thank you. My pleasure. Good evening.
Good evening. Wow, you guys got gardens?
Yes.
Yeah.
And mine is dry and unkempt at this point because we only moved house recently.
Oh, okay.
And we took over a garden that was horrible, and we're going to love it and nurture it as soon as we get some rain.
It's hard for me to get passionate about this story because I don't have a garden, and I'm kind of jealous and angry of people who do have gardens. Certainly during lockdown, it was absolutely, can you imagine 5 kids in a flat and you're sort of allowed out for an hour a day, and we had the police stopping us in the park and going, how long have you been out now? And it's like, I've been 40 minutes, and it's like, we better go home soon. It's like all of that stuff, and we would absolutely love a garden. Now, sorry, I want to talk about your garden because you told me, so before you recently separated, your wife made you basically fix the garden. I remember seeing all these photos of you putting up like, oh, look at what I'm doing with this garden and building the shed.
Yeah, I spent most of lockdown improving the garden. I did some decking, and I built an office.
I mean, I was so impressed. I was like, I couldn't believe you were doing all this.
And some, raised beds, and there's lots of planting, and we had a little water feature, and it was. And by the time it was finished, so was I.
It's done. We have the perfect. She can work the hose.
I mean, in fairness, I don't think it was quite as cynical as that. It just happened to be how I used my time in lockdown. I needed a project because lockdown was crazy, wasn't it? And now I've got, my little bachelor flat, and I've got 5 house plants.
Okay.
And a really successful basil plant. I've never kept one of those alive before, and this one is thriving.
This is the moment. Every time I bought a plant, it dies. I feel
on the way back from the shop.
Yeah, pretty much. I have that golden touch of just wither, the decay, touch of death.
The basil's going to love the sunshine. What about the national newspaper getting all the headlines wrong about this poor man?
I know. It's like all these people sort of attacking him. Like, how dare he?
They were furious that he'd collected the water from the sky.
Yeah, the water hog, the warthog. Yeah. There he is with his water. Look at him with his water. It's not like he's an oil baron.
It's not like papers ever get anything wrong, right?
No, the papers, strangely impartial, and ignoring facts for a story would never happen at all. Well, we said it straight, so I hopefully feel that. But that was a beautiful looking garden.
It's amazing, but apparently they can't be left out in the winter, so he has to dig most of them up and wrap them up and take them in his hand, take them indoors. So that is quite an eccentric hobby, isn't it?
An obsession.
Yeah, an obsession, And he didn't look like the kind of guy who'd be obsessed by something, did he?
Not at all. He's very well trimmed and whatever. I mean, we are going to be moving into sort of, it seems like, hosepipe bans for everybody. Do you think that's going to bring back some of the worst kind of elements of neighbours and snitching?
Yeah, it's a real worry because after what happened with the COVID lockdowns, and some people were
they got into it, didn't they?
A helpline to tell on people that they thought were taking too many walks or something. I mean, it's really outrageous. I mean, I personally obeyed the lockdown rules. Let me just clarify. Wasn't one a proponent of breaking them, but I certainly wouldn't have ratted out a neighbour if they had.
No.
The hosepipe ban, I think, will bring the same out If that's your personality, it will bring it out in you too.
There'll be loads of dehydrated curtain twitchers, won't there? If I can't have it, you can't have it.
Exactly.
I need them on. Look at it.
Well, they'll probably be, they'll be too parched to actually be able to call the police. Maybe they'll just be like texting away. I am one thing. Anyway, right. Leicester locals were outraged this week when activists called for the famous pork pie roundabout to be renamed the Vegan Pie Roundabout in the name of healthy eating. Animal rights group PETA, or People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, wrote a letter to the city mayor stating a name change would help protect animals and the environment. The roundabout was named after the neighbouring pork pie library, nicknamed because of its unique round shape. Leicestershire have a proud pie history, there it is, from housing the headquarters of one of the most famous pie manufacturers to hosting the annual British Pie Awards. Pie is not just a matter of pastry. So did you guys read that news this week at all?
It was the first thing I read.
And did it outrage you?
Some real stories to get your teeth.
Forget the leadership election.
Yeah.
Let's get into this pork pie roundabout.
And from what I understand, it's not the roundabout that looks like a pork pie. It's the library near the roundabout that looks like a pork pie from above. So, pre-drones, how did anyone know? So it's a roundabout named after a library that looks like a pork...
it's totally logical. It's fair enough.
It's a really bonkers story, isn't it?
It is bonkers, but it has had quite a lot of traction.
I was going to say, I'm all for eating less meat. I mean, I still do eat some meat, but we eat far more vegetarian meals in my family. But, I think, that's a good thing we all should do, but to rename it a roundabout like that, there's obviously an attachment, as you say, to the library, and people thought it was quite sweet to name the roundabout after it.
I'm a vegetarian. I have been since I was a teenager. I'm not on any kind of crusade, and I've given up trying to sort of bring people over to my side of the. History has taken over because vegans are now, that's the full thing. So I'm not a vegan, but I'm a vegetarian.
You're scum. You're vegetarian scum.
It's like I've gone 3/4 of the way there. Yeah. I haven't gone the full way, but I think the whole. The vegan word is being weaponised to some extent, and this is a story that's just designed to upset people who would get upset by anything vegan.
Well, this is sort of renaming Coles North. We had legitimate reasons possibly for things to be renamed, but going to this level is this the future that no one's ever going to be offended?
PETA. That's an American... Peter.
And they do eat a lot of pitta.
But it's an American charity organisation.
Well, I think they're quite international.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah. All I know is that they occasionally have naked women with dogs in front of their boobs.
I don't think that's them.
That's not them?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well then I'm not a fan. Well, look, we have a guest here. Joining me now is Peter's senior Peter senior campaign manager Kate Werner, who proudly supports the cause for animal rights and for vegan pie roundabouts. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
So it is Peter.
Peter, yes.
It is Peter. Okay, fine. There we go. Now, please tell me what prompted this campaign.
Well, this is a light-hearted ask, but with a really serious message. Leicestershire has one of the highest obesity rates in the country. And, this change, if Leicester decided to do it, would benefit the environment, inspire healthier plant-based food choices, and celebrate Leicester's vegan-friendly, pie-loving cultural heritage, whilst also preventing animal suffering.
One of our panellists is a vegetarian, don't hate him. But he did mention, of course, that vegans, it seems like you're really coming into your own now. It's becoming a much more popular practice, right?
Yeah, I mean, many people now in the UK are vegan or vegetarian, and, we love to see it. And hopefully, if Leicester implemented this ask, then it would be a reminder every day to people passing to give vegan foods a go. Every vegan saves up to 200 animals a year. It's better for your health, and we're in a climate crisis. And the most impactful thing individuals can do is to go vegan to save the planet.
I've got to say, I'm very conflicted about this story because on the one side, I'm Jewish, and on the other side, I've been eating meat for 2 months. So I don't really know pork pie. I've dumbed down with the meat thing, but hey, pork pie. I don't know. The pork pie roundabout has been around since the 1930s. Don't you think that possibly history is sometimes a bit more than veganism? More important?
Well, I think if you've got an opportunity to get veganism into the mainstream and, remind more people to give vegan a try, then of course, history evolves, traditions evolve. Pucker pies, Samworth Brothers, they offer really popular vegan pies. The vegan pie category attracted the most entries at the British Pie Awards in Melton last year. More and more people are choosing plant-based foods, as you say. Why not let traditions and history evolve to reflect 21st century values?
Well, I think like a lot of people, when the Greggs brought out its vegan sausage rolls, I gave it a go and I was like, yeah, this isn't totally disgusting. I can't really tell. I couldn't really compare it to anything because I don't know what a normal sausage roll tastes like. But I was like, okay, yeah, I could get behind this if I have to. Are vegan pies actually much healthier? Is that true?
Yeah, veganism generally is eating a very plant-based diet is shown to prevent heart disease, diabetes, abdominal fat, some cancers. Vibrant vegan foods, including vegan pies, have less saturated fat, fewer calories, less cholesterol than their meat counterparts. So Belby and Melton, the home of the pork pie, have some of the highest obesity rates in the UK. A third of adults are obese. So it's time for a culture change and a diet change. By doing this, we're helping people, reminding people to try plant-based, have a longer life and lessen the burden on, the NHS.
Well, I think it's good that Peter has a vegan who actually looks healthy fronting them. So well done on that. And thank you very much for coming in. Keep your messages coming in. Please send us your comments and questions to gbviews@gbnews.uk. And after the break, we'll be having a rummage round your parts. Yes, you heard me right.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh, my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Welcome back to Friday Night Feast. Now it's time for Round Your Parts, where we dig deep to find some of the absolute gems of local news. A South London mum of two has set up an app to report dog poo after having enough of the mess left near her home. Lawyer Jennifer Swallow has set up Turd Alert, Are we before the watershed? I don't know. Which will allow users to complain directly to the council. The 46-year-old who lives in East Dulwich, of course, said that she was unable to walk 20 metres down the road without coming across a dog poo. Wow. Would you use this app, Pam?
I would, because let me tell you, I've got the same problem in the road I live in. And I was going to say, you know, it's poo, it's an app. She should just called it PAP.
You don't live in East Dulwich?
No.
You used to live around there, didn't you?
I do. Well, I did.
It wasn't you, was it? It wasn't human feces.
I hope not, but I'm not a fan of the dog poo either.
No.
You know, it's quite unpleasant. On my child's first day at school, one of my kids stepped in a poo on the way.
Oh, wow.
And so that was the very first thing that all the other kids saw was me trying to get poo out of
Yeah.
shit.
And starting in what is he 16? She's 16 now,
She's
and
16
they're still
now.
poo for 16 years later.
Maybe they'll get repeat offenders with this, you know, because sometimes I think that looks like the same poo that was there 2 weeks ago.
Really? You're taking photos, aren't you? You're like a proper detective. I sense like a new sitcom here. We've got Pam, sex therapist, coming in. This will be like the side story.
Looking for repeat offenders.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. OK, well, I personally it's just when I was about the similar age, my sister was about 6 and she stepped in a elephant poo and it sort of went up to her knee. And it still makes me feel warm when I think of that memory. Anyway,
how did that happen?
Yes.
We were in India, to be fair, and you know she's not very good with her spatial awareness, shall we say?
Does she have dyspraxia?
She just was walking. Look at me, I'm in India. Traumatised for life. Big Brother taking the mickey forever. It's good.
But you may have dyspraxia.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
Yeah, where, you know, your spatial relationship with the world is a little bit askew.
Yeah.
Oh, OK.
People with dyspraxia always step in elephant.
I can't even say this. I can't even say dyspraxia. But I'll tell you what. There we go. I've got it. Probably a doctor there. Thank you. I'll call her after the show. Add it to the list. Now, York Dungeon say several parents have asked. Well, this is actually pretty crazy. To change Dick Turpin's name to Richard because the name Dick is too rude for their children. A spokesperson for the infamous highwayman, who was hanged in York, had returned to the tourist attraction this year with visitors unable to take a seriously... Sorry, not unable, able. Of course they're able. They're able now because he's returned back to take a seriously spooky ride in his carriage. I don't think it's going to be that spooky. Now, should Dick's be cancelled, Ben?
No, well, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Hey!
But it is genuinely ridiculous,
yes.
isn't it? That people are... And when they say several parents,
yeah,
it's one, isn't it? It's one lunatic parent.
Are we going to cancel Dick Van Dyke? I mean,
well,
come on.
I hope none of these people ever visit Cockermouth because they wouldn't like it there.
So that's a real place.
It is a real place, yeah.
Should point out for some people. OK, it is a real place. I was just double checking. Phew. Yeah, it is a little bit ridiculous, and you're probably right. It is probably just one parent. I'm imagining it's the same person who invented an app to report dog poo. This person's really getting around. She's in East Dulwich. She's like, I'm going to escape the dog poo. I'm going to go up to York, just visit a nice, wholesome museum. Dick! What? Let's get the app out.
Too much time on her hands.
Yes, too much time, exactly.
But you know what? I mean, we've all grown up knowing the name Dick Turpin. He was quite a famous, highwayman.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is literally the first time that it's made me think of the other one.
Yeah, even when you were learning in school, it wasn't like you were giggling around. Oh, they said
no.
Yeah. It's madness, the world. OK. Right, 18-year-old Joshua Dobson from Rochdale, wanted for nicking a car, was found hiding inside a teddy bear. I saw the photos, actually. I'm sure we're going to show it. Police were looking for him over the theft of the Mitsubishi ASX. Oh, yeah, I've got a couple of those. In May, and for not paying his petrol. Whilst searching his house, police were said to have been baffled when they heard breathing coming from the teddy. The teddy was cut open, and Josh managed to squeeze himself inside the lining. Managed to get inside the lining in an attempt to hide from prosecution. He was arrested and later sentenced to 9 months in prison. Wow, hiding in a teddy. What's more embarrassing, being arrested or having a huge teddy bear at 18?
How big was that teddy?
I did see the photo.
How small was that
He was a small little driver. It was very easy. It's a small little man, little 18-year-old man.
It sounds like something out of a horror film, you know, the breathing teddy. The police walked in, they could hear breathing, you know.
But I wonder if I'm just thinking why he had a hole in the teddy, why he had a big teddy.
I've got a story about that, but it's not.
It's not appropriate for family television. No. I don't know. There's something wrong. Yes. There are many elements wrong to this story, Joshua.
It might have been that the car crime was the least of their worries.
Yeah, this could be a whole other... Guys, get back in that bedroom and start investigating. I recommend doing some fingerprints and some UV stuff.
Do DNA swabs on all these toys.
All those toys.
Oh, no.
Maybe...
Oh, dear.
Checking everything else. OK. On the south coast, a builder was knocked unconscious when he was hit with a bottle of pee, which dropped from a 50-metre crane. Sorry about that, mate. No, the man, who was part of a team of builders working on a new healthcare centre in Worthing, was taken to hospital. He is now recovering at home. Now, have you ever been slapped in the face from a height?
No, but I was walking past some scaffolding and they dropped a trowel, which smashed onto it was about a metre in front of me. I mean, these things are deadly. A bottle of pee coming 50 metres, think of the physics involved, crush you. I'm amazed the person survived.
The pee element, albeit not ideal.
That's just the spice.
Well, if the bottle doesn't break, it sort of doesn't matter what's in the bottle.
Just a hard bottle.
Could be a Dom Perignon. It's going to do a lot of damage.
I doubt it's going to make it'll be in the newspapers. Possibly. If it was Dom Perignon maybe. But just water.
Yeah, it's the wee element.
Also, guys on the cranes, come on now. Let's hold it in, or just keep the bottle with you. You don't have
Well, they obviously knocked the bottle off. My gosh.
Oh, really? See, I was thinking they were just like, hey, there goes Dave. Hey, oi, oi!
But this must be standard crane driver culture, right? That you're up there for the day.
Yeah.
You wee in a bottle.
What goes in?
You bring it down with you.
Yes, that would be the etiquette, the crane etiquette.
You don't sort of just lob it out the window.
Yeah, just like, not like I do on the motorway. That's crazy.
Part of the building trade. We had builders in recently, and I kept
Humble
thinking,
brag?
why have they not... No, not humble.
Someone can afford builders over here. Someone's getting some work done.
House. It needed work done.
Okay.
And I kept
house.
thinking,
Someone's in a flat. Okay.
Why did they not ever ask to use the cloakroom? And so I said to my husband, what are these builders doing? He said, well, I said to them, they're welcome. And they said, oh, no, we keep... they each have a thermos for we. So during the day.
And it keeps it warm. That's what's good about it.
COVID didn't want them using loo, so they just started this as a practice.
Wow.
So I think it's a new builder's trade practice.
So there, you heard it here first. Don't ask a builder for tea.
They might
give you the wrong
Swap
flask.
out the flask. There's your tea. There's your wee.
It will be warm. It might take you a second to cotton on.
2 sugars, please.
Yes, 2 sugars. I think it's going to take a lot more than 4 or 5 or something like that. Anyway, now it's time for Howie's Hat Trick, where we take a look at the best internet videos of the week. As we learned today, the definition of family is widening. Your traditional married mum and dad with 2.5 children and a dog is no longer the norm. But this week, the internet provided us with some truly unlikely co-parents. What? No, what? You cut away too soon. That's all. No. Okay. No, well, that's all we had. Well, for the people who've seen that video 50 times, like me, at the end of it, they're sitting together.
Oh.
They're both sort of co-parenting with their little eggs. I'm wondering if the cat is just waiting for them to hatch. And then
yes, and have a nice
eating. We're going to run it again, and we'll see if this time it's in there. But it does look like it's about to kick off. But actually, they become friends. Oh, no, there we go. Look at that. Oh. That, you know what it is? It could be co-parenting, or it could be the laziest cat in the world who will not shift for anyone or anything.
Or the cat thought it had laid those eggs.
Yeah, he's like, oh, those are some nice eggs you've got. Oh, yeah, I'm sure I read a children's book at some point about a cat or some eggs being raised by some other type of animal, and then they found the mum or whatever. Anyway, it was a real life thing, so lovely story. Now, a larger than this... Oh, God, I've seen this video a lot this week. A larger-than-life daredevil went viral this week after a particularly extraordinary act at a water park in France. You guys seen this?
No.
Don't think so.
OK, here we go. So I think we can agree that man recently got divorced.
He's living his life.
He's like, woohoo! Okay, this daredevil known as Le Mascotte tours France tackling daring dives and water slides. He's been extreme jumping for the last 15 years and took to Instagram to show off his injuries from this daring performance. There we go. Ooh, ow, that is a burn. That is burn. Okay, wow. La Mascotte told the Sun newspaper that he has previously suffered broken ribs, arms and feet for his sport, inverted commas sport, and his next plans involve jumping off the bridge at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Wow, well, he's got protection there, but doesn't seem to be doing him much good. And let's zoom right in on those budgies. Let's get right in there. Thank you so much. Let's see the bruises on that bad boy. What do you think? Were you tempted? That was impressive. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he went one better, didn't he? Everyone else was happy to slide there. No. He got on the roof of the slide.
It's like, no, guys, you guys are weird. It looks scary enough as is. But he's like, let me just show you how it's done, please. And he also, with his weight, he obviously got a bit of momentum there. Going, He really had that gravity working in his favour.
I love water parks. I love those big water slides, but I would not do that. Sorry, I'm not that daredevil.
No,
fair enough.
But it's good that he's...
I don't want those bruises.
Yeah. He looks like a chap who took a little while to find the right sport for him.
Yeah, falling, essentially. Gravity was his sport.
How do you train for that?
Lots of pie, lots of pork pies or vegan pies, depending. And for my final trick, an Airbus, an Airbus terrified tourists as it made an extremely low landing at Skiathos Airport in Greece. That's terrifying, right?
That's low.
That is low. And what's it going to be like on the plane itself?
You would be expecting that it was going to, belly flop on the airstrip.
Yeah, you see, like in Hong Kong, I don't know if it's still that way, but it would be that you would like land right in the middle of the city, and that was kind of amazing.
No, they built a new airport in Hong Kong, but the old Hong Kong airport, it was notoriously difficult.
Yeah, that's some proper Top Gun stuff. Have you guys seen the new Top Gun?
No.
Not yet.
No.
It's brilliant. So that I can imagine Tom Cruise was there. I've got my mission to terrify these people. Look at that man in those budgery...
I doubt they were clapping that pilot. You know when you have a great landing and people sometimes clap the pilot?
I don't approve
I think
of
on that they would have been terrified.
Yeah, do you think it was a flyby? Do you think that was an accident? Or do you think that's what happens just every day, that's how the plane comes in?
I think he dropped his Danish and was just... around for and came back up. Whoa! Yeah.
I'm a little bit scared because I'm going on holiday next week. Oh. I'm flying Wizz Air and I'm going to that airport. That is true. So when I saw this, I was like,
the chances of that happening again are slim. You would have thought. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Okay.
It was nice to meet you.
Let's just get through the next 20 minutes first and then I'll start panicking about next week. Now it's time for this. This is the part of the show where we read out all your tweets and emails. I'm sure they're incredibly positive. Barry enjoyed watching my challenge this week. Thank you, Barry. This is what he had to say. Just looked up the penny farthing. They are £2,000. Wow, Dubai, I didn't know that. Just thought you'd like to know. Yes, thank you so much. If I had known that before, then I would have stolen it. So, and I've got the suit ready for court.
Not the easiest bike to steal.
Yeah, that's true. Trying to make a getaway on that. So, before I make a getaway, could you just teach me how to read this? To write it. Tony found our guest, our first guest, Mr. Motivator, particularly inspiring. After listening to Mr. Motivator, I say put him on the ballot for next Prime Minister. Absolutely, got to be better than those other two who are presently up for it. Yeah, I'd vote for him. And Marion also enjoyed this week's Penny Farthing Challenge. She said, as a lifetime cyclist, it was always a mystery to me how people got on and off those penny farthing bicycles. Now I know, yes, you know, it's now with incredible difficulty and total loss of dignity.
And you have to readjust yourself.
And then, yes, you might be OK. But and finally, Russell said, so will they want red Leicester cheese renamed too? Yes, I should have actually asked that question. I'm not. Why don't Peter... Beepity beep. Oh, they've already written it. OK, like I said, bugger off. Why don't Peter bugger off? OK, well, sorry you feel that way. Right, coming up, but thank you for emailing, that's very kind of you. Coming up, we have this week's Fake News Friday featuring Eurovision and our regular features, National Treasure, and our Dog of the Week this week is 4-year-old crossbreed Storm. See you in 2.
On Mark Dolan tonight, in the big question with a raid on his private home, which has sparked outrage for being politically motivated, has Donald Trump been handed the White House in 2024? We'll speak to US talk show host Sebastian Gorka. And should Joe Biden be impeached on the grounds of ill health? We'll hear from America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman, and she's not pulling her punches. Also, will the Ukraine war be over by Christmas? We'll hear from legendary historian Martin Whittock. And in my big opinion, those pushing for a meat tax can burger off. See you at 9.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh, my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of 2 wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Now let's get to Fake News Friday. This is where I make up a story and find out if I convince the great British public that it is in fact true. This week it involved the UK's host cities shortlist for Eurovision.
London is not on it, but Grimsby is. Do you think that...
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I've been to Grimsby. I've been to Hull. Well, why not? I mean, if it'll get the place on the map and maybe get some investment and things like that, good for Grimsby.
We would rather it go to Leeds, because that's where we're from.
But have you heard of Grimsby? That's what one of...
No.
Is that a small town or somewhere?
Yeah, it's sort of. If Grim, if you sort of take the title, the name.
Oh yeah.
I think that is.
Grim.
Don't know it. Don't know it. Sorry.
Right, but you're going to tune in anyway.
Yeah,
of course
definitely.
Of course we are.
London's not on the list, but Grimsby is. I just thought if you had any thought of that.
We want to redevelop parts of the country which have actually really suffered in the last 40 years. Maybe it's a good idea. I have no problem with the people of Grimsby or the people of the North, absolutely not. And I think it's a good thing for regeneration. It matters. London shouldn't be the only place that gets investment. So
the shortlist just came out today. London's not on it, but Grimsby is. What do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous. London's the capital, and I think it should be held here.
Very good. Would you go and watch it in Grimsby?
No, I'd come to London to see it though. Better atmosphere.
I quite like that question because it seemed that it could be real. Because, yeah, Grimsby could do with the Eurovision. It might help and get them some more money. I'm sorry to the viewers in Grimsby. Uh-oh. But would you guys have fallen for that, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, for shortlist, have you seen the list?
Yes.
It's a really long, short list.
It's like Glasgow and
Leeds.
Loads
of
Birmingham.
places on it. Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not Grimsby?
So what do you think it would be then? Have you any thought? I mean, how do you feel about London? Look, I'm a Londoner. This is where I was born and raised. I kind of feel like, come on, man, it shouldn't be on the list. I mean, I know you may be trying to make a point or something, but London's a great city.
But it does get everything.
Because it's such a great city. But I don't know. I felt like it could have just at least made it onto the list. But were any particular favourites out of...
I'd give it to Leeds.
Oh, really? Leeds is a beautiful...
I like Leeds.
Leeds is beautiful.
I've got some friends there. It's a groovy city.
It doesn't feel like it's had anything for a while either. Like, it feels like all the other places,
it's got
Birmingham...
the Reading and Leeds Festival.
Yeah, true. But Birmingham's obviously got the Commonwealth Games at the moment.
Yeah.
Glasgow was City of Culture. I would personally choose Glasgow. That's one of my favourite cities. That's where I'd move. Sheffield...
Sheffield, I would choose. My great-great-grandfather was from Sheffield.
The Human League were from Sheffield.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Human League.
So we got it there.
Cocktail bar waitress.
You know what is actually quite nice is that this country has many, many great places that hopefully will create a great Eurovision, including Grimsby. This week, we welcome Rio Cole as our national treasure. Rio is a full-time nurse and charity fundraiser that is raising money for the London Air Ambulance Service. She's abseiling from the 17th floor at the home of the charity, the Royal London Hospital, in September. Our wonderful national treasure this week has also skydived and recently won Miss Voluptuous contest. Let's get on with this interview in order to raise awareness of racism in the healthcare system. I never thought I'd say that sentence. That is the strangest sentence that I've ever said. Hello, and congratulations, our national treasure.
Thank you so much.
Look at that. How much money have you raised?
For Rethink Mental Illness, doing a skydive, I raised just over £500.
Fantastic. Wow. And Rio, tell me more how you got into this, where these ideas have come from.
So I've always been a bit of a daredevil, but I'm aiming to push beyond my fear and boundaries. And one way I found by doing so and giving back was by joining Miss Voluptuous United Kingdom. Now, it's a beauty pageant. It's also an empowerment and leadership program. It aims to celebrate women from all around the world, this international-based pageant system, and it supports a number of charity platforms and also helps people to amplify their voices for the community they represent.
I'll ask you, did it help for you to win that competition or entry that you were already dressed like that?
I wasn't already dressed like that, no. So I entered it as a beginner. It's my first time joining a beauty pageant. So this year I joined and competed on my 32nd birthday. And you do a year of being a finalist. You have a journey of, raising money for various charities, or you can have a platform. I chose to, raise money for mental health illness and also racial inequalities and health inequalities I'm fighting against within the NHS.
Fantastic. And you have a crown there. Does that mean that you won?
I did. I'm the second joint woman of colour to win. In the 5th year of Miss Voluptuous United Kingdom. So another woman of colour is Charisma Griffins. She won Miss Voluptuous United Kingdom. So me and my sister Queen, we've joined as the women of colour, which is a very rare occurrence to win. And we're now the representation of all the young girls out there.
As my rabbi would say, mazel tov. Now, you've done a bunch of other stuff as well, including skydiving. Which of these has been the scariest?
The skydiving. Okay. Just a little bit. So I've got a fear of heights. So it really did challenge myself, as well as, promoting a message out there that fear can sometimes, hold you back, and it can prevent you from showing your true potential. And I wanted to prove that, as well as giving back to mental health. So yes, you can achieve anything. I do feel invincible now. So this is not going to be the last of my adrenaline junkie challenges, raising money for charity.
Well, if I might suggest something to you, are you familiar with penny farthings? They're very, very, very high up there. It's very wobbly.
Yes.
But I believe actually the next thing you do is abseil down the Royal London Hospital, right?
Yes, so I have a connection with Royal London Hospital. I actually was a neonatal intensive care nurse. So it's a phenomenal hospital. So I knew the work they'd done personally, so I wanted to raise money for them. So yes, I will be abseiling down Europe's tallest helipad. It's equivalent to the Big Ben.
Okay, well, brilliant. And can you just tell us finally, you've told us a bit about the charity, but how can they donate? How can our viewers give you some money?
So we have a sponsorship page, which aims, I have already shared with Great Britain News, where you can click on it, and it's as simple as just registering your card and making a payment. It can be £20, £10, £30, whatever you wish.
Okay, well, we've got the link at the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to support Rio's abseil, and I understand that you're scared of heights, so that's a particularly brave thing to do. You can find all the information and donate money on the London Air Ambulance's website from our strap below. Thank you very much. Now, it's lovely to meet you. Good luck. Now, it's all that you've been waiting for. Yes, it's one of my favourite parts of the show. Guys, do you know what it is? It's Dog of the Week! Woo! Dog of the Week! No, I don't know that. That's not it. Okay, if you're new to the programme, this is when we try and rehome a rescue dog. This week, we're asking if you can find it in your heart to rehome the gorgeous Storm. She's a beautiful 4-year-old crossbreed looking for her forever home. I'm very excited to introduce Nikki Leeson, trustee at Storm's Animal Sanctuary, Holly Hedge. Welcome, Nikki. Tell us some more about Storm.
Oh, where can I start? Storm is just an absolute dream. We're all completely in love with her. We cannot understand why this girl is still with us. She's just the sweetest soul, and she is a real people's dog. She craves attention. She greets us with the biggest smile, and her smile is so infectious, you can't help but smile with her. And she really is an absolute sweetheart. She, as you can see, she's with Helen here, one of our fabulous volunteers, and she just wants to be with people. She's a real lap dog as well. She would just make the most loyal, faithful companion that anyone could wish for. I mean, just look at those eyes. They just get deep into our souls and they just melt us completely. She's just a dreamboat. She really is. She's been with us since just before Christmas last year, which is obviously it's a sad time for any dog to come to us, but we really didn't think she would still be here all these months later. So if anyone can find it in their heart to offer this precious girl a home, we would all just be so, so grateful and beyond delighted. As with Storm, it would just make her year, and she so deserves it. She is a really special little girl.
Great, and she looks very beautiful. How is she with children?
She needs to be rehomed, preferably in an adult home, simply because she came to us with a few medical issues. She still has slightly sensitive feet, so you do have to be really careful just about touching her feet, so it doesn't sort of upset or hurt her in any way.
Ben's like that as well, but unfortunately no one's homing him at the moment either. This could be actually Ben should really take Storm.
His heart full of love.
Yeah. Well, no, Ben, you could take. Yeah, you get a dog. They're going to be out in the park.
I just want to check. Was Storm found wandering around in East Dulwich by any chance? We've had some.
Because we got some photos. We've got some evidence here from Pam as the fecal matter. If we could just check what's going on. So Storm. So maybe not particularly good around children. What about other dogs or cats? Or
She's a bit selective when it comes to dogs. So ideally, she just wants to be rehomed as an only pet, so she can have all the attention to herself, and then you would just get all Storm's love for yourself too, which would just be the most incredible feeling, I believe. She really would be the most tremendous pet and the most faithful companion. She just wants company and cuddles and kisses. She has this endearing habit of greeting us by sitting up on her back legs, and she literally wraps her front legs around our shoulders and gives proper cuddles. So yeah, she's pretty special, as they all are. But there's something unique about this girl.
My old son does that to me, so you know, I'm not as over it. So fine. So someone, no children, no dogs or cats or whatever, but someone who's really able to focus and give Storm the love that she needs and the attention and get that love back. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and you also there are other dogs as well, I imagine, who also deserving love, and
yes, we have lots of dogs and cats at the sanctuary, all waiting to be chosen as somebody's forever pet. So you know, we promise to do whatever we can for them until those wonderful rehoming days come their way.
Okay, well,
we provide all the veterinary care they need, and we just make it as pleasant as and enjoyable as possible during their stay with us, because we really do love each and every one of them as our own. They're all very special, all very precious to us.
I love your passion for the animals that you care for. If I'm ever in trouble and need to go to court, I hope that you come and speak on my behalf. Hopefully I'd get away with it.
Yes, I'll do that for any animal lover.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. Nice to meet you. And good luck to Storm.
Thank you so much. I'll pass on your good wishes to Storm, and she'll obviously send her cuddles back to you, I'm sure. Thank you.
Cool. Right. So you guys, you got dog? Do you have a dog, Pam? You got cats.
Because right now I don't have time for a dog. I love dogs.
Yes.
Always had dogs younger, but now I just don't have time. So cats are so independent.
Okay.
But there's a real issue with, just this week, the report out about how many dogs are being abandoned. It costs £2,000 a year on average to keep a dog. And so many dogs, because of the recession, people just can't afford them. So it's really a crisis. It's reached a crisis point for rehousing.
People are paying a fortune for these dogs. I remember people would say, I've got a new dog, and it's like $2,000 or $3,000.
Not everyone. Some people are stealing them.
Oh, and people are stealing them. Yeah. Have you got a dog? Do you guys
no, never.
You have 3 kids. That's enough. When you get to the certain number of kids, my kids are just constantly on my case.
We had cats.
Okay, you had the cats. That was what the problem was, mate.
That wasn't the issue.
Building the shed and the cats. Those are the clues.
I'm not really a doggy person.
Okay.
I like the fact that cats go mysteriously poo in other people's gardens.
Okay, yeah.
And you don't have to
take the photos of it.
And they bury it.
They do.
At least, yes.
They can't. Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, Storm looked good. I hope that I think in this show we've managed to house 1 dog.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
out of how many?
3,000.
Okay. Okay.
So
it's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard because I think also because a lot of people did get dogs during lockdown and
they've gone back to work.
People are working now. Their lives have sort of moved on, and they're taking care of the dogs that they have. And
it's a big commitment, isn't it? You can't really go away, and
it's like bicycles. Everyone was desperate to get a bicycle during lockdown, and now you've just got these, or not penny farthings, and also trampolines. If someone could get rid of the trampoline that's in our neighbour's garden that we asked him to put in there, that would be much appreciated. She really seemed to. I don't know why she sort of adopted. Storm there. She seemed to really...
Oh,
she liked it.
She really liked... Unless she's a really good actress.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't... She was like, are you trying to palm this dog on? Maybe she's like really desperate to get rid of this dog.
It'll hug you.
Well...
You call it a hug.
No dogs, no cats. Big face. Yeah. But it's good. It did look like a very beautiful dog, though.
Yeah.
It did look... Beautiful. Yeah, no, I don't know, but I'm definitely not getting it. My kids, if you are watching this, hello, forget it. Forget it. You ain't getting a dog. I'm not doing it. I mean, that's my life. It's just fighting about dogs. It's a nightmare. Right. Has anyone got a taxi for Christys?
Taxi for Christys.
This was the week when a new style of pottery hit the scene. Denim dishes.
Wow.
Yeah. A granddad tried to be enthusiastic at a pride parade, which he found was taking place on his doorstep. Oh, yeah. He's got the pink jumper on. Very good. And a proposal went wrong at Ironman Europe.
Tell his story, and he thinks he wants to say something. Best proposal ever.
Oh, yeah. She eventually said yes. That is all from me tonight. Thank you so much to my guest, comedian Ben Norris, who's going off to a gig now, psychologist Dr. Pam Spur. I look forward to reading all of your books. And Mark Dolan tonight is up next. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hi there, I'm Aidan McGibbon, and here's your latest weather forecast from the Met Office. Warm overnight and then a sunny Saturday for the vast majority. Very hot again in many places. In fact, Saturday marks the peak of the heat for many of us. High pressure still in control of our weather. A weather front close to the Northern Isles continues to bring some low cloud here. And what we've seen over the last 24 hours is some low cloud and mist affecting the coast of eastern Scotland and the far northeast of England. That will creep inland somewhat overnight. And the outbreaks of light rain and drizzle will continue to affect parts of Orkney, Shetland, Lewis and Harris. But elsewhere across the UK, clear spells and a very warm night. Temperatures not dropping much below 18 or 19 Celsius. So a warm start to Saturday, some murkiness around northern and northeastern coasts first thing. I think much of that will retreat back to the beaches by Saturday late morning. And then the afternoon for the vast majority is looking sunny and once again very hot. High 20s for Scotland and Northern Ireland, low 30s for much of England and Wales, and 35 or even 36 for central and southern parts of England as well as East Wales. So unusual temperatures for the UK. The heat by day and the lack of relief by night mean that for some people this can be a health issue and it can cause problems to infrastructure. So an extreme heat warning continues to be enforced through the weekend. Now overnight there will be some thunderstorms breaking out across northern England, parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's the first signs of a change on the way. First though, on Sunday, for many places it's another very warm night, a warm start to the day, and then temperatures rise once again into the 30s for much of England, Wales, and another very warm day for southern and eastern Scotland. But northern and western Scotland, Northern Ireland sees thunderstorms develop. Now these will be hit and miss. They'll occur more widely up and down the country on Monday, but where they do occur, the risk of flash flooding.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch. You've been cancelled. Join the club. Oh my goodness me. And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone.